Hey everyone, my name is Monica, aka The Rogue. Thank you so much for checking out my YouTube channel. I know why you're here, so I won't waste any more of your time. Without any further ado, here is the full, uncut, unedited version of my Skype conversation with Jarett Cale, better known as Jeremy, of Pure Pwnage. Check it out. Hello everybody on the internet, and welcome the Jarett Cale of Pure Pwnage. Jarett, thank you so much for joining me on Skype today.
Hi Monica, thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. I'm so excited. I'm a little nervous because you are the first person I get to interview for the website geekxgirls.com. So I just want to make sure I don't mess this up, and I want you to do more talking than me. So if you can just keep that in mind and help me out a little, that would be awesome.
For sure, yeah. You're winning so far, but okay, I plan to catch up and win in the end.
Okay, awesome. So, first and foremost, I'm going to start off with the question that is on absolutely everybody's mind. How are you enjoying being a dad?
It's the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
It was also the most terrifying thing I've ever done, but it has become the most rewarding experience of my life. I didn't know beforehand. I was actually pretty worried because I have, you know, historically I've had a tendency to become addicted to things like gaming or work or anything in life I generally have a sort of hyper focus on. So I thought, oh my God, what if he comes along and I don't love him, and oh my God, what if I just get addicted to something else? But it turns out that that my instincts kicked in. Look at that, being a human and all, and he is just the focus of my whole life. Honestly, it's too cheesy to talk about because A, I'll probably start crying, and B, people have heard it before from other parents, but amazing.
So now you're playing the ultimate RPG.
You know, that's really funny you say that because I've drawn that analogy before.
Yeah.
To other people. It's like you're leveling up this little MMORPG character.
Yeah.
The stakes are through the roof, right?
Yeah.
Everything you teach him affects who he is forever, and you're trying to raise him to be this good person, this smart person that does something great for planet Earth. You want to raise the hero. You want him to be the one that leads us all into utopia.
That's awesome. And you only got one life. You only got one guy.
You do. You have one shot, and you can't mess it up, and it you know, it takes a lot of time, but it's a lot more rewarding than playing an MMORPG.
Awesome. Now, since you are a gamer as well, and then becoming a father, a gamer father, how has that been able to balance out, and have you been able to kind of have time for both?
I still sneak in gaming, but my priority has shifted intensely right away, and so I don't have, you know, nearly the amount of time that I had before to play video games, but simultaneously you don't care. Because it's, like I said, it's just a lot more fun to be with him anyway. Right. So when he's napping or when he's sleeping and I have free time, then I still game, and I still manage to do pretty well in the games I play, although I'll admit that sometimes I miss having the 8-12-hour training sessions that allowed me to be, you know, sort of a competitive gamer. I get my ass kicked more now than I've ever been used to, but, but you know, take the good with the bad.
That's awesome. So, what role, if any, role does gaming have in your family?
It's pretty big. I think, you know, it's kind of like a thread that runs through our family's culture. You know, my baby mama, she loves being called that. You know, she's a big gamer too, and my little guy, he has an iPad that his babcia bought him, and he's pretty adept at Angry Birds, and he plays, you know, Monkey Preschool Lunchbox, but he mastered that one a long time ago. And so there's lots of actually really cool toddler apps, and you'd be amazed. In fact, it's a testament to Apple's UI that they've made these the product in general, like the iPad, and then a lot of the companies that make games on the iPad, that a 2-year-old can master them, and that he's so good. Like, it's almost scary when you watch him use the iPad opening and closing, and he's faster and more accurate. All his finger presses, like everything, it's shocking to see him navigate this device. more effectively than a lot of adults could, and then he just learned it so quickly. Like, they just don't forget anything at that age, and a lot of it's trial and error. But I watch him do things, and I'm like, how did he know to do that? He's actually learned through trial and error. I showed him once, like when an app halts, how to go and close it down in the bottom bar. He knows how to open up the settings and adjust the brightness if it's too bright for him and stuff. And so you see him do these things like he's in the settings, and he can't read, man. He's only 2, but he just knows where all this is. It's pretty cool. So I'm actually really excited for the Wii U to come out, because that's going to be, his first console. He's, usually console cycles are like 6 years, right? So, he'll be 3 in February, so he'll be almost 3. He'll be with it till he's probably around 9 years old, and he's going to grow up, because it's a very family-friendly device. I'm not throwing him on Xbox Live at the age of 5 or anything, right? And it should have, has, again, a really intuitive controller that should be good for really young kids. So I'm excited for that. He likes to watch us play Super Mario World or new Super Mario Brothers on the Wii or anything like that. He's very familiar with all of the Nintendo characters. He has some Nintendo posters in his wall. So he gets really excited if he sees Yoshi. Yoshi's like his favorite thing in the whole world. If you play a Mario game in front of him and get Yoshi, he's like on the moon. If you lose Yoshi, he's pretty upset. But it's pretty cute. So he knows all the characters, knows all their names and everything, and it's just, that's, some families have Disney movies, or some, families have Pixar, or whatever, comic books, I don't know, Superman, but his stuff is Nintendo. Nice. It's sort of his little cartoon culture.
That's amazing. And does he know he has his own Facebook page, or his own Facebook?
I don't think.
And how are you guys going to bring that up to him? Like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's so...
It's pretty neat,
unordinary, and just so mind-boggling that we're just in such a time where everything is so easy to get.
It's kind of, some people have mixed opinions on it, but for us it was, we don't put things on there that we aren't comfortable putting on the internet forever, right? So it's not like an invasion of his privacy. It's the same photos, and only family or close friends have him on Facebook. So, you can't just go at him and look at his photos. All the privacy settings are maxed out pretty much. But instead of, what happened with a lot of my friends, I'm now in my 30s, gasp, and a lot of my friends are obviously, having children now and starting families, and their Facebooks are taken over by their children. I don't even know sometimes who's making status updates if I don't read the name, because the face is like a baby, and another baby, and another baby. And sometimes my feed is half children's faces, and I'm like, who the f is that? I don't even know. And you go to their profile photo, and you're like going through their profile photos, like, hey, who is this? Who's this? Because sometimes people, can't remember their name on my feed, because I had a lot more people than are added on him. And it's like, I'm going through 6, 7 profile photos. They're still all babies. I'm like, who the f is this? So we wanted to avoid that. I wanted to maintain my own sense of Facebook identity, and then have his. At some point, we're going to have some sort of transfer of the account. I also registered his .com, I registered his Twitter and everything, and at some point, I'll be like, here you go, son. But I don't think it's anytime soon. No. But it's a great way to share family photos. All family adds him, and then they automatically get updates in their feed of when we put new photos of the most beautiful boy in the world on Facebook.
Of course. Awesome. That is amazing. Okay, so speaking of roles, your roles as a dad, your role as a gamer, you are best known for the role of playing Jeremy on Pure Pwnage. And for those who aren't familiar with Pure Pwnage, long story short, you guys started out as a web series in 2004. You were very successful. Showcase signed you on for a season. You did the season. I believe you guys even got nominated afterwards for.
We actually for the Gemini Awards are the Canadian Emmys. So it's the most prestigious television awards in Canada. Right. And we were nominated in our first season, which is very rare, for Best Comedy Series, period, which is a nomination for me and Jeff as producers. Best Writing in a Comedy Series for me and Jeff as writers. Best Directing in a Comedy Series for one of our directors, Ian McDonald. So it actually made a lot of buzz in Canada because it's a specialty channel. It's not like a main CBC channel. Right. So, a lot of people hadn't had a chance to check out the show, and they published the nominations. Like, again, it's a big deal in Canada. They publish these nominations in the paper, and a lot of people are like, Pure Pwnage, Pure Pwnage, what the fuck is that? That just got all these nominations, very prestigious nominations, not the obscure stuff either, right? So it's really cool to receive that sort of critical acclaim, because obviously we put our heart and soul into making it.
Of course.
But then, unfortunately, the network got bought out entirely by another broadcaster, and they rebranded the channel. There's no more comedies at all on that channel. They just import. There's some locally made stuff, hour-long dramas, and then they import a lot of American hour-long dramas. But that's just it's a drama station now.
Okay.
So it's too bad.
Yeah,
it's too bad.
That's a huge bummer. And then that was like the last thing that we even heard about anything about Pure Pwnage. So that was roughly, what, 2 years ago that we've
It was almost exactly 2 years ago that we received the phone call that you're not being renewed. In fact, we got the phone call exactly 1 week before the awards ceremony. So we had already received the nominations. They had already, in fact, hired us to write scripts for season 2. Right, so we were busy writing season 2 in our heads and in the heads of the executives that we worked with at Showcase. It was happening, and then we got this phone call saying, they're not renewing, and so it was at that moment, especially after working so hard. I mean, literally from the time we started Pure Pwnage, it's an all-day, everyday job, and I think anyone that owns their own business totally understands this, and I think a lot of YouTubers today are understanding this, that when you have something like this, it never goes away. It's with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's always something you can do to help grow your channel or help grow your show. And so we never really took vacations and never really had any time off. For years and years and years and years and years, we were just consumed by Pure Pwnage. So in October of 2010, when they decided they weren't renewing it, I decided that I'm taking some time off life for a while.
Yeah.
My son, he was like 8 months old at the time, and I had already completely become obsessed with him and fallen in love with him, so I was like, okay, I'm going to take some time off. So I said, I'm going to take another 6 months off and just spend time with him at home, let the baby mama work. And then that 6 months turned into a year, and then turned into another year. Yeah. And here we are. God, I can't remember the question, but I hope that answered it.
No, you're completely on track. And so 2 years later, completely out of the blue, out of nowhere, I believe it was on September 18th you posted on purepwnage.com. It was that little teaser of the teaser video with the clicking and all that fun stuff that made everybody all giddy.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind that teaser?
Part of it, I think, was to gauge what would happen. It was a bit of an experiment. It was just a little experiment. I wanted to know, how far does that video go? How excited do people get? It had been so long since people had heard any news about Pure Pwnage. What happens if they have a video with no video? It's just sound. A YouTube clip with just sound of just typing for the most part, with a brief, climax at the end. It was the idea to hype people up beforehand and get their wheels spinning about what could be coming, what could be happening, to read on the forums what they wanted most for that thing to mean, even though really it was decided what that thing was going to mean, but really it was just a way to get the hype going a little bit beforehand. You see,
get everybody excited for the following day.
Yeah. Sometimes on websites you see like countdown clocks and stuff, really generic stuff, but we just like the idea of doing something slightly different and getting people excited prior to the announcement of the movie.
Awesome. So that's exactly what that was. It was just to get everybody giddy before your big announcement the following day, which was on Indiegogo.com. Your announcement that you're making the Pure Pwnage movie. So, first of all, when did you come up with the idea of making the movie, and were you always planning on continuing the Pure Pwnage series?
It was always important that we do something more with Pure Pwnage other than leave it with, TV show wasn't renewed, web series ended abruptly, nothing more ever. I don't think anyone was satisfied with that, from the newest fan in the world to the oldest people who worked on the show. It's not a good way to leave something. Now, in a perfect world, we would have kept doing seasons on TV. And that's what we expected. We were expecting to do more seasons on TV up until now. I still feel like, had certain things not happened, we would probably still have a TV show, and that would be really cool and fun, and that was a lot of work, but exciting, to work in the big business of TV. But after the TV show ended, we because while making the TV show, we kicked around the idea of doing a movie, because there's sort of that trifecta now. It used to be sort of two things, TV and film, but now, of course, there's web, TV, and film.
Right.
And I feel like we did the web, and we did it for years, and we kicked its ass. I think there was no YouTube yet or anything, and we kicked its ass. Absolutely. And when we went to TV, we didn't exactly kick its ass, but we did well. We had good numbers, and we got nominated for the awards, and it showed that we could do that, right? And of course, it's not easy to just continue in TV, because you don't just get TV shows. We were very, very fortunate to get one season of one TV show, because getting a TV show takes a lot of luck and a lot of hard work and a lot of years usually. And so, moving forward, we had the option of either going back to the web with Pure Pwnage, because we're not going to get another Pure Pwnage TV show, or moving on to a film. The film seemed like by far the best way to go, because it keeps us excited. Moving back to the web seems like a bit of a regression, almost like throwing in the hat and saying, okay, we failed the TV, we're coming back to the web. But at the same time, we didn't want to leave the web series as it was, leave the universe where it was, and never to be touched again. So the movie was this, it's perfect for us, because it keeps us as creators really excited. It's so exciting to write and direct a movie, because we never have before. Yeah. And it's a whole new industry that we've never been involved in. I mean, I've been to film festivals, but I've never shown a film there. And I've always wanted to. And even growing up, when I had dreams of maybe being a writer or a director or an actor or anything.
Or talking about Batman all the time.
Yeah. I never dreamed of being on the web, because there was no web. I never dreamed of being on TV, because TV was always sort of that one tier below film. I mean, ultimately, film is the highest you can go. As awesome as the web is now, it's still not Hollywood. If you really want to tell stories and make something of the highest quality, you do it in film, right? And especially where web content's gone recently, because it's been quite a few years now, even 4 years since we did web stuff, it's a totally different landscape, right? People on the web now that can make a living doing it, it's all about quantity over quality. It's about just churning out content, 4 videos a day, 24 videos a day, whatever. But there's very little quality storytelling, because there's no time to. No one has the production abilities to do that. No one has the money. And it just takes so much time. I mean, if you really want to make a film that's 90 minutes and you want to make it a really great piece of art that stands the test of time, you don't just churn that out in a week, right? And the way that people make money on the web is views, just straight up views, right? So if you want the most views, you get a lot of fans, and then you give them a minute a day or something, and you get all those people watching them, and then you make a ton of cash, and that's how I have all these rich YouTubers now. So, yeah. The short of it is, it seemed like the only real option to tell a good story, to create something really good, and it leverages our personal needs as artists and our talents, which isn't churning out, mediocre quality stuff, in by the bucket load. It's about making, just like the web series, when we would make 3 episodes a year, 4 episodes a year, but we'd put our heart and soul into it, all this original music, stories, characters. That's what excites us. That's what we're interested in making. So, now we're going to make a movie, and oh God, I hope it's good. but we're going to try our best, and I really do believe in this. I think that we have a really good chemistry, and I think that's been proven. We both have a unique talent set, and yeah, I really believe in us. I think we're going to kill it. So I guess we'll see what happens.
And what were you thinking story-wise for the movie? Did you guys want to kind of pick it up from the web series, or were you going to try to make it a little different this time? Or
because the web series always followed sort of a realities timeline. So as new games would come out, like World of Warcraft, we would address them right away.
Exactly.
So it was a bit topical in that sense. So when you expected a new Pure Pwnage episode at the time, people expected to hear about something that's very new in the gamer community and see what's Pure Pwnage's take on Halo 3. What's Pure Pwnage's take on this or that. And that's still true to web content today. That's what makes it good, because the turnaround time from conception to delivery is so short that you can make them hyper topical, and that's great. But for the film, we can't really do that as much. And so I'm trying to remember your question now. I get going on these.
If you're going to keep going with the web series storyline.
Yes, that's right. So, we're going to go back to that storyline, but we didn't want to start it exactly where it was, because that wouldn't really make sense, because where we were was a time that no longer exists. We're 4 years ahead of that. Right. So we're going to start the series 4 years later. And now a lot has happened since then. We get to go back to the universe, and we get to sort of call back to things that would have happened. We get to fill in the blanks, maybe with some words, maybe a flashback, I don't know, but we haven't written that far. But I mean, we get to explain some of the things that happened and put some fans' minds at ease about what was about to happen. And it also makes it a lot easier for us to overcome the obstacles of, you know, having to have rewritten the series, because with Troy passing away, it was a pretty big writing obstacle, because he was a key character in what was about to happen to Jeremy. And, you know, it's pretty difficult to start from there again, especially 4 years later. I'm older. I've got some gray hairs now, you know. I'm about 15 pounds heavier, you know. There's physical differences like that, and there's these chronological differences. So we're going to start 4 years later, 2012, or maybe 2013 by the time we go to camera, and it'll make so much more sense. I think it'll be better for the audience. It's certainly a lot easier for us to make it, and it just seems like the best way to go.
Awesome. Okay, and so within regards to the Indiegogo announcement, you guys put up your announcement September 19th that you're making a movie, and your minimum goal that you chose was $75,000.
Yes.
Why have that? Why was that your number for a minimum goal?
It represented roughly half of what we thought we needed to make a movie that competed on, you know, like a world-class film that competed on an international level, and we had hoped, you know, if you can demonstrate you have an audience and you can raise some money, there's always more opportunities privately to raise more money, and so we thought that was a good place to start. Also, just the mechanics of the way Indiegogo works with a flexible campaign is that if you don't make your minimum, then they take a much larger portion of the money. So you sort of incentivized to set your goal lower than you actually want, to make sure that if you don't make it, well, at least you don't get a big 9% hit on that money. Okay. Also, just small things like, you know, the Angry Video Game Nerd had a movie campaign earlier this year. Last year, Freddie Wong and crew, a really popular YouTube channel, they had a Kickstarter, Video Game High School. Both of them asked for exactly 75. Both of them exceeded it by a long shot. We didn't want to be presumptuous and ask for more than they did, because they're both, by today's standards, more popular than we are. And so we just felt that, you know, they had almost set a precedent. We would just go there, start at 75, see what happens, and then we had a few contingency plans, like what if we don't make it, and what if we do make it, where does the money go? But it seemed like the best way to go.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Well, thank you.
Now, so your announcement goes up, and literally within 24 hours, a single fracking day, you reach your minimum goal. Like how crazy is that? How were you feeling at the time? Did you even comprehend that, or did you like, no, that's a mistake?
It was a little overwhelming. It was pretty intense, actually, because I'm pretty pessimistic just by nature. So I had thought that we weren't going to make the goal after 60 days. I was actually prepared to kick in, you know, my savings, or kick in my family's, like begging. You know, start begging my mom. You know, and see, you know, I didn't think we were going to make it after 60 days, if I can be totally honest. You know, it had been a long time since people had heard about Pure Pwnage or thought about Pure Pwnage, so I couldn't really believe it. I was pretty emotional. I was on the edge. That second day, I was walking a fine line, I think, you know, close to crying a lot, I think, just out of joy. And everyone has been pretty smiley around my house, and I'm sure Jeff is smiling too, and everyone's pretty happy. I think it reaffirmed that there's still a lot of love for Pure Pwnage out there, and that the movie will be, you know, that people will be excited for it, and they'll watch it and hopefully enjoy it. So, yeah, it was just surreal. One more surreal element to the whole Pure Pwnage adventure that I've been on this past 8 years.
That's amazing. That's crazy. I can't. Okay, so you guys got your goal in one day. Crazy excited, and are you in the mode now? Do you realize now? Okay, like I got to start getting into work mode and kick myself, and this is actually happening, or?
Oh yeah. I mean, right away, my attitude changed on the second day, because my plan was to, you know, just put as much time as possible into the campaign so we could just, oh please God, let us make that 75,000. And so now that we've made it, I don't have to put as much time in that. Instead, I can already start working on the writing and already start planning for the actual film. Any little pre-production tasks that we can do now, and getting people on board, right? We can now approach people that we wanted to work with and say, hey, do you want on board? Hey, do you want on board? Whereas before, I didn't think I'd be able to do that yet. So I think... it's affected my daily activities already. Already I've started reading books on film writing because, I've written some TV and some web series, but really, I think it's hacky compared to writing a movie, especially when it's your own movie, your first movie, and what may be the only movie you ever write. This is, I'm putting my name on this, and I'm sort of approaching this like it's my opus. Like this is, I hope, the greatest thing I've ever done. Yeah, the greatest thing I've ever done in my life so far. This is what I want it to be. So I'm dedicating the next year of my life to doing this, right? That's a long time. Don't have too many years left. I'm an old man now.
You're not that old. Come on.
I'm over 30.
Oh my gosh. 30 is like the new 18. I don't know.
You know what? I feel 18.
Okay, well, that's good.
I don't feel 30, I'll tell you.
That's a good thing. So, you have your minimum goal reached. What was the scope of what you believe you could have achieved with your initial budget goal? Now you guys are, I'm not sure what the number is at, 121? Or
122?
122?
Yep.
So, original initial goal to 122. So, what more can you bring to the table now?
Well, because our internal budget was always way ahead of what our initial goal was, so far the scope of what we're going to do hasn't really changed yet, because in fact we haven't quite reached what we wanted to make sure that we can do what we want to do. As we get beyond, if we get beyond 150, then we get to start, and oh my god, okay, we have even more than we had planned. So mostly we don't have to worry now about bringing other people on board to make what we want to make, although we could still bring other people on board if we now start expanding our mind about what we can do with the movie. But I think there's just a little bit of relief that we don't have to go knocking on any doors for money to do what we want to do. Because I was worried we were going to have to scale down because what we had in mind was higher than what we set. And so the contingency was, let's scale down what we want to do. So right now we're there, and it looks like our initial plan is going to take shape. And then as we grow beyond, hopefully, who knows what it could get up to. Then we get to scale things up. And for me, what I think would be really cool is bringing in really great actors, known actors, and maybe taking our characters to more and more places to really make it international. I always thought Pure Pwnage had a very international feel to it. We did some traveling in the show. Growing up, I've been a huge James Bond fan. I've all the James Bond films on VHS, and I always loved how they would go on location to everywhere that they would shoot, pretty much, right? So they'd actually go to Italy, and you knew they were in Italy. They didn't make a whole set of Venice, right? And so I love the idea of bringing some of our characters out into the world, especially where esports are really big. They're really big in Sweden. Obviously, unbelievably big in Korea. Even going to places like LA would be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm excited to just keep expanding where we can go and what we can do and who we can do it with.
Mm-hmm. And is that why you mentioned in your Indiegogo that you guys kind of hinted that you wanted to check out South Korea? Is that because you wanted to kind of compare and contrast their kind of gaming world to our kind of culture? Yeah,
and I mean, Jeremy's the best gamer in the world in the web series and TV show fiction, and in reality, right now, in 2012 and for the last decade, the best gamers are in Korea, the very best in the world, in almost any gamer genre. That's where they are. So it just seemed like it would be strange to not address that. If you're about to make a movie with the supposed best gamer ever, how do you not mention that country called Korea where all the best gamers are? If you want to prove he's the best, you can't really throw him up against just a bunch of white guys and be like, look, he's the best. It's like, really? Because, I don't know if that's the strongest argument. So, Korea is just top of the list of places that, how does Jeremy do in that environment? We throw the fish in that ocean, does he swim? Is he a shark in Korea? And so I guess it'll be exciting to find that out.
Sweet. Wicked. Let me see here. I'm trying to wrap it up. I feel like I can talk to you for days.
That's fine.
what are your main influences in regards to how your characters are constructed? What are you, obviously you are totally into your son right now, but other than that, what kind of books do you read, or is there something that inspires you to write these kinds of characters, or is it just based on soul life experience?
It's it's mostly based on real life experience, I think. I've always, had a tendency to be like sort of a people watcher, right? The most fun I have in public is generally, spying on other people or eavesdropping on their conversations, and just, of course, my own personal interactions with all my friends and family over the years and the people in school, and you draw from that. And I'm pretty much only interested in making the type of shows that have hyper-realistic interactions and characters. I'm not the biggest fan of the very Hollywood poppy sort of fake interactions. The dialogue that you see in 99.9% of TV shows that you would say, no one says that. Like, no one interacts that way. Every comedy on NBC ever made, no one interacts that way. Nobody talks like that, ever. And so there's not much to draw from a lot of popular media, because I think it's all fake. Or a lot of it's pretty much fake. But there's some rare gems out there, like The Wire. If you haven't seen The Wire, that's how people talk, right? Those are real interactions. Great television. I think Louis on FX has a lot of very real interactions. I'm a really big fan. But mostly my own personal experiences, although I do still read books. Right now I'm reading this book here. You can see it's
of course, yes.
Yeah, of course. I'm on the fourth one, Feast of Crows. Although I'm not going to go his route, which is, he has a very odd writing style of crush the hopes of all his readers over and over. Like, I don't know where he's even going with this. It's like, oh, let me make you fall in love with the character, and then I'll kill him, or I will maim them forever. It's just, I don't think I've ever been more depressed than reading this series right now. I don't even know why I still read it. I think it's because I've invested so much time, like, well, I gotta finish it.
Finish it now.
But by the end, only the most hated characters are going to be left alive, laughing at the graves of all the people you loved. Is that how it ends? Like, how is it? Where's he going? I don't know. But I don't know. So I'm not going to go that route. But yeah, mostly real life, and probably after that it would be books with the odd film.
Awesome, cool. And in regards to the movie and pre-production, getting a script done, what is your timeline? Or I guess you kind of just still preparing everything, but what is your goal to kind of get the movie started, or at least finish the script? And
so we've sort of already started very general brainstorming for story beats and concepts of where we want to take our characters, and we're going to write and especially as soon as the campaign's over, put 100% of our time, or as much as available, into writing until probably around February. We hope to have the script locked in February, go to camera hopefully in March, and then film and hopefully get put it in the can by the end of May at the latest, and then cut it and have it out for summer 2013. So it's a pretty long process, and it's still before it's in people's living rooms or theaters or on their computer screens, it's still a long ways. This isn't a YouTube video. Can't crank this out in an afternoon. This is the most important thing I've done. It is my other baby. It was my first baby. So yeah, we're a ways off. But we'll keep everyone updated, hopefully with lots of live streams and cool things like that. If not, in addition to Twitter and maybe like blog style stuff, I don't know. But we'll definitely keep everyone updated as we go through the process, because now we have a lot of people on board, right? Little mini investors or however.
And how are you guys planning to dish out the movie? Are you planning to do like a worldwide theatrical release, or is it going to be available online? Because you guys are known for having free TV web series, so now it's more you want to step it up a notch. So how are you guys going to release it?
Well, it's still a bit up in the air, because our dream is for the very first release ever. We would like to debut it at a reputable international film festival, like something like TIFF in Toronto, or Cannes or Sundance, or all those big festivals people have heard of that receive so much attention from the best of the best in Hollywood, right? If we're going to take on Hollywood, well, we want to take them on their own ground, right? When I was put on the web and say, we beat you, it's like, well, you didn't. You know, they know you did, right? So I think the ultimate dream is to be able to show it at a great festival. And then after that, who knows what happens? I guess it depends on how well it's received. In a dream world, yeah, there would be some sort of theatrical release, you know, even if it's really small. In fact, even for some of the web episodes, back in 2007, I think, we actually had limited theatrical releases. And these are just 30-minute episodes, but Empire Cinemas, which is a smaller chain, it's no Cineplex, but they have theaters across Canada. They would put out our shows in like 13 theaters across Canada in all the major cities. So I would hope at the very least we have the opportunity to do something on a limited level like that. And then following that, you know, we put out DVDs and first release it in HD to all of our pledgers, and then eventually put it on the web. What's important to me is that there is a point in time that's not too far after that film is done and released that people can just watch it for free, because that's the spirit of Pure Pwnage, and you don't make something for people not to watch it. Right? It really bothered me that the TV show was region blocked, and I fought and fought and fought to unregion block the television show, and I won a little battle. They unblocked the web, you know, the mail sacks and stuff like that, but when you put so much time and effort into something, and then they're like, well, only 17% of your fan base is going to get to watch that. That's pretty shitty. And so if we make a movie and the only people that can see it are people that could afford to go to the theaters or afford to buy the DVD, well, that sucks, because that's a small portion of people that want to see it. And I know there are a lot of people out there, they can't afford the DVD. They can't afford a movie. Jeez, I can't afford to go to the movies, to be totally honest. It's I'm going to plan those purchases. But so I want to make sure that in the long run that it's freely accessible to anyone that wants to see it, because that's why you make stuff, for people to enjoy it. So
absolutely, that's I think literally I don't think I can end it on a better note than that. You pretty much answered everything and more, and thank you so much for doing most of the talking. And the last
I did win.
Yes, you did. You totally did. The last question I have for you, your baby mama, what is her favorite video game? And if not video game, what is her favorite type of genre for a video game?
I think these days a platformer. She's I think the game she's probably played most recently is like the new Super Mario Brothers. You know, she has a 3DS and then we have a Wii, of course, so that kind of stuff. But she also, I think the last game she got really addicted to, and I mean like addicted, was Diablo 3. She's also sort of a Steam gamer. I don't want to answer for her, or she'll watch this and get mad at me that I got it wrong. She doesn't play Diablo.
You should know this.
I don't know. I guess a lot of people don't play Diablo 3 anymore. But yeah, the last game I saw her playing a lot was New Super Mario Brothers. So.
Awesome. Okay, great. That's all I wanted to ask you. Thank you again so much for agreeing to have a chat with me. And
no problem.
I will. I'm going to bug you again probably in February or March then to get a follow-up and get you some more questions and see. I'm excited to see how the rest of the stuff is going, and
happy to
make sure that everything is going swimmingly, and make sure we have more than enough supporters for you. So thank you again, Jarett. We'll talk to you soon, and say hi to the family again for me, and thank you for being awesome.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun. Hi, all the people on the Girl Gamer fan page and website and everything.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Jarett. Oh, I can't believe that just happened. So that was the full, uncut, unedited version of my Skype conversation with Jarett Cale. I hope you at least enjoyed it, because personally I can't enjoy it because all I can focus on that entire time is that stupid fat grin on my stupid face. I feel like I made such an ass out of myself, and on top of that I fanned out so hard that I actually forgot to ask a really important question. I asked on my Facebook page, if you had a question for Jarett, what would you ask him? And Adam from Houston, Texas asked if there were going to be the same characters in the movie as there were in the web series, such as Lady Taji and David. But anyway, I emailed Jarett, and here is his answer. It's a priority for us to get as many central characters as possible from our web universe. However, to what extent will be determined as we get further along in the writing. So that answers that. Thanks again for checking out my YouTube channel. I look forward to making more videos for you where I make a complete ass out of myself for your entertainment. I'm Monica, aka The Rogue, signing off of the tube and onto Xbox Live. I'll catch you later.
I own all.